Hi everybody, welcome back to another check-in video. This is my third installment and I have been really having a good time sharing my pen thoughts and journaling thoughts with you on a regular basis. Today, the topics that we are going to discuss are the Commonwealth Pen Show that's happening this Saturday and Sunday, September 14th and 15th in Somerville, Mass. I also want to talk about my Atlas order. It's my Hobonichis and a couple inks that I ordered. We are also going to discuss how I'm doing with my 30 inks 30 days challenge. This is the first time I've ever participated in 30 inks 30 days, and I have a little spin to it that I think I may have talked about last week. I also want to talk about a new Instagram strategy that I have because I'm so inspired by so many people who I see sharing their pens and inks and their artwork and journaling and Hobonichi layouts and such on Instagram. And I'm just the worst about posting. I have a schedule in mind and I'm curious if anybody would like to join me on some of the ideas that I came up with, which aren't very original. I just thought they would be fun for me to stay focused. So why don't we start with the Commonwealth Pen Show that's happening this weekend. Sadly, I can only go Saturday morning for a very short time. This is kind of a big weekend for us. My brother-in-law is celebrating his 50th birthday on Saturday afternoon. And Sunday, my daughter leaves for Spain. She's leaving for Madrid. I just want to be with my family this weekend. Somerville is only about 40 minutes away from where I live, and it's in a new spot this year. It's at the Armory. I've never actually attended the Commonwealth Pen Show because last year they had canceled it because I think they had an issue with the venue. They did a little pop-up in Munson, Mass, which was at a small church, and I did attend. My neighbor has landscapers here every single day, it feels like. In my next life, I want my neighbor's budget for his landscaping. Hold on, I'll be right back. All right, I'm going to do my best to just plow through. Hopefully there won't be too much background noise. We're going to see the new Beetlejuice tonight, and then we're going to dinner first. So Angie and I have to pick up Jay at the train station. So I'm trying to film before we go. Saturday, I will be there in the morning. I am planning to meet Matthew Chen. He worked on my Visconti when I was at the Dutch Pen Show. He did an italic grind for me. And the more I used it, the more I think I realize I'm more of a cursive smooth italic girl. So I think Matthew is going to smooth this out a little bit for me. But I also want him to work on my Platinum Izumo that I got during the Atlas sidewalk sale. This is so gorgeous. I haven't really talked much about this pen, but I got it in a broad nib and it writes beautifully. This is a little writing sample right here. I have the new Mont Blanc Heritage Red ink in here, and it's so beautiful. This is the one with red accents. So it's very subtle where you can see the red. There's also, I believe, a green and a tan. This is so gorgeous. This is their flagship pen at Platinum. And I'm so happy to have it in my collection. But I thought it'd be really nice if Matthew could do a special nib grind on this. I'm thinking cursive smooth italic. I think I've tried a lot of pens and that seems to be what I like the most in a nib grind. So we're gonna have my special Homo sapien Visconti worked on in this as well. I'm hoping, Lumpy, stop it, Lumps. Also, JJ Lax is going to be there from New York, and Josh worked on my Mont Blanc 149 when I was at Stationery Fest, and I love what he did with that nib. He also showcased a double broad cursive smooth italic. That's a little specialty grind that he was working on with some of his nibs, and he gave me one as a gift, and I cannot find it anywhere. There was a lot going on that day. I'm still hopeful that I'm going to find it in a pouch or zipped in a bag someplace, but I can't find it. But I thought that would be so wonderful to do on this Esterbrook, which I talked about in my Esterbrook video when I ordered this special pen from Esterbrook. This is a collaboration with Bungle Box. They were selling out so quickly that when I went to order it, the only nib that was left was a double broad. So I ordered the double broad. I don't have any Esterbrook nibs in the double broad. And then within like a couple of hours, they restocked every nib size. So I probably would not have chosen the double broad. It's fun because you know I love a good juicy broad nib. However, I think it needs a little refinement for me to use it on a more regular basis. This pen is just way too gorgeous to not use more often than I've been using it. So I'm hoping to also get in with JJ Lax and have him do the double broad cursive smooth italic on this nib as well. He had a couple samples on the table and I happened to pick that one up and I absolutely loved it. So these are the 3 pens that I want to take with me to the Commonwealth Pen Show. I really don't have anything on my wish list as far as things that I want. I'm just really excited to check it out because it's my hometown show. Traditionally and currently, this has a lot of vintage pens and vendors there, which is not really my thing. But I really thought the people who did go to Munson last year were wonderful. I can always learn a little bit about something at each pen show that I go to. I know that Esterbrook is going to be there this weekend, and also Bob Slate's stationery store is going to be there. And that is one of my favorite local shops. They are out of Cambridge, Mass. They're in Harvard Square, and they're one of like my go-to shops in the area because now that Apple Bloom is gone, there aren't many fountain pen shops around. Boston General Store does have some fountain pens. Also, the Paper Mouse is beautiful. They're in Newton. I don't think they're going to be here, which is unfortunate. I don't think they're going to the Commonwealth Show, but correct me if I'm wrong if you know in the comments. So it's nice that we have a local shop that's going to be there. And also, I'm participating in Pelican Hub on September 27th. This is going to be my first Pelican Hub that I'm attending. And it looks like Bob Slate, I think it's the owner of Bob Slate, who is hosting. I don't know where the location is yet, but I did get an email confirming. So it's going to be fun. It's just going to be fun to see some local friends. Did you hear something? Are you okay? What's the matter? He hears the landscapers. It's just the landscapers next door, honey. Okay, so that's all about Commonwealth Pen Show. Let me know if you plan on going. I love you, Lumpy. We're going to turn this way. Let me know if you plan on going to the Commonwealth Pen Show and what you're looking forward to, and if you have anything on your wish list. I don't have a single pen on my wish list that I plan to get, but you never know. I've been known to make an impulsive purchase here or there when it comes to pens. So I might have something to share with you next week. Okay, next up, let's talk about 30 inks in 30 days. 30 inks, 30 days is a trend that I've wanted to jump on for at least the past year. Every time it comes up or every time I see somebody posting about 30 inks in 30 days, if it happens to fall in a month with 30 days, I always want to do it and I never have the discipline to do it. As I mentioned earlier, I'm not the best about posting on Instagram, but this is something I really wanted to participate in this year. And one of my goals that I shared for kind of just my creative goals a few months ago when I was talking about planner systems and journaling that's working and that's not working, one of the things I talked about was creating a notebook where I did drawings of my pens, and I was going to do it in an Archer and Olive notebook that I bought special a couple months ago that had a fountain pen on the cover, and I never really dug into that. So I thought maybe for 30 inks, 30 days, I would draw a pen a day. I'm grabbing pens that I'm inspired to draw, and I'm drawing them. This is an A6 notebook from Mulberry. I had purchased a Mulberry purse for the first time while I was in London, and I've seen this A6. This is called like the Postman lock closure. I have admired this on many people's channels and in their Instagram feed. I was definitely influenced by other people. I love the chunkiness of this. I just ordered some graph paper and some blank paper to add in here. And I also created my own sheets with just some A5 loose leaf paper that I cut in half. But I started creating my 30 inks project. I did one post about it because I just recently drew my Kaweco olive green, and I shared this on Instagram. I'm about 4 days behind because I'm filming this on the 10th. Actually, I'm probably 5 days behind, but I want to share with you what I've done so far because it's been really fun. The first day I did my Aurora Volterra. The only thing that's strange about the drawings is that the ink doesn't necessarily match the pen, so it's a little abstract in that way because the Aurora Volterra is a cream colored pen. Here's the drawing of my Volterra, but this is my actual pen. So, you know, it's loosely based, but I really had fun with this. So what I'm doing is I'm tracing the pen with a very fine pencil, and then I'm just going in and sketching it. I'm not overthinking it. I'm also using Q-tips or the tip of a paintbrush or just like wetting my finger and smudging to make somewhat of a watercolor effect. The ink that I used here is Sailor Ink Studio 280. So it's really fun. And I did number this one, but I haven't numbered anything since, but I figured I started that way. And then I don't know if I'm going to put them in order at some point. So I'm just drawing at this point. This one is my favorite. I like how this one came out the best. This is my Leonardo Momento Zero Grande in sand, also with a medium nib. Again, this looks more gray than my pen. I'll grab the pen to show you. The ink that I used in here was my Mont Blanc Around the World in 80 Days. So that is my sand. I did the darker lines and then I just kind of spread it with the tip of a very fine paintbrush. It just created some shading, which I think was really pretty. So there's my sand. There are certain elements that I feel like would be nice if I could add some color, or do I just keep it monochromatic like this? I'm also thinking about dipping my paintbrush in the ink and then just kind of creating like a watercolor wash in the background. But that's for another day because I have my hands full trying to draw each day. This one didn't come out too great, but you get the idea. This was the first day that I tried to actually draw a nib as opposed to, showing it capped. This is my attempt at drawing my Pelikan M600. It's got a broad nib. This is, of course, the red and white, and the ink here is Graphon Faber-Castell Garnet Red. I picked up a bottle of Garnet Red when I got this pen, actually. It was on last chance on Atlas, so it was 50% off. I do love Graphon Faber-Castell inks, and their bottles are really classic and beautiful. And I wanted to get the olive green, but it sold out really quickly. But the Garnet Red was perfect for this. I also could have used, and I was tempted to ink it up with this, but it was already inked up with the Garnet Red, the Heritage from Mont Blanc, but they're pretty similar. You see them close to one another. This is Mont Blanc, this is Faber-Castell. On most of the drawings, you'll see that like the hardware, I'm filling in with like a darker color. But in this was my Shape of Heart, my Platinum Shape of Heart black one that my husband got me in Japan a couple of years ago. This is with the custom grind from JJ Lax. Oh, he didn't do a Mont Blanc. I'm sorry. I said he did Mont Blanc. He did my Shape of Heart. My bad. And in here I have Tom Studio Mallard ink, which I picked up at Boston General. This was a hard one for me because I did the reverse because the pen is actually black. It has the Swarovski crystals in the cap, but I couldn't get them. So I decided to just draw two hearts because, as you know, they take the hearts from the center of, do I have that in here? Here's the pen. Loosely based, remember, go easy. If you're unfamiliar with what they do with the Shape of Heart, is in the nib here on the Platinum, see how the center is punched with a heart? They take those little pieces and they put them inside the finial with crystals. So if you look really closely, you might be able to spot the two hearts in there with the crystals. If you shake it around and it makes a little shaky shake sound. I have two Shape of Hearts. I also have the chai latte, but this one's really special to me. So I decided to just do like watercolor here. Like I didn't draw the Swarovski crystals. That's my Shape of Heart. This wasn't one of my favorites. And if I can, I will write in the brand here. It's been really fun though. I think once I actually get caught up, I will do like a flip through on Instagram, but I'm not there yet. And this is what I shared on Instagram. This is my Kaweco Sport Dark Olive with a medium nib. And I also drew this, I have to hide behind my thing here. I also drew this open. And the ink that I used here was a limited edition ink that I got at Stationery Fest. It's Nagasawa, Kobe, Taiwan, Alishan green, or Alishan green. This is a really beautiful ink. So here's my picture. I only have 5 so far, but I'm having so much fun. I did just like a little title page, and then we'll be able to flip through the pages each day. I love my Leonardo. But it's been so much fun. I've been really trying to carve out time to have like little art dates with myself and draw things. And this has been a really fun exercise for me. So even though I'm a little behind, I'm still having a lot of fun with it. So let me know if you are participating in 30 Inks in 30 Days. I probably should have explained what it was for those of you who don't know. It's a way for people to use their inks that they might not otherwise use by either swatching just the ink or demonstrating what it looks like in a certain pen. People do all sorts of creative things with 30 Inks, 30 Days. I love even the very simple technique of just taking a month at a glance sheet and swatching an ink in each box for the month, just to use those inks and maybe discover some combinations of pens and inks that you didn't know you loved so much. I left a question on my Instagram post, like, what do you think my next combo should be? I have an idea. I do want to do my Esterbrook Honeycomb, because I just feel like I can do so much with the shading of that pen. It's really beautiful. While I was at Starbucks today, I had started to draw this and I ran out of ink. So I couldn't do this. That's almost a blessing because I think I'm going to do the honeycomb because I think the shading will be really fun in that. So speaking of Instagram, I want to talk quickly about my Instagram strategy that I want to start implementing at some point this week, maybe next week. I'll start it. This is my little YouTube notebook, and I try to put ideas for Instagram, YouTube, my main channel, this channel in here, just thoughts on things that I'd like to talk about. I wrote, would love to have a theme every day to post on Instagram. So on Monday, ink inspiration. What I really love to do recently is compare ink families. This is gray, this is red. You know, when you're on the verge of purchasing a new ink and you're like, oh, but does this look like that ink? Or do I have something that resembles that? Do I really need that ink? I would love to see what that ink looks like next to other ink. I think it's Mountain of Inks. Every time I have a question about an ink, I go to that website and they usually show an ink next to 3 other similar inks. That always helps me decide whether or not it's something I may want to invest in, or maybe see another ink that resembles that ink enough that I feel like I don't need it, and then I can go use that. So ink families on Mondays are ink inspiration. On Tuesdays, I have Tangle Tuesdays. I recently took a Zentangle class, and I'm actually considering getting certified to be a Zentangle specialist artist. I don't know. There's some class that's being run. It's like a workshop certification weekend in Newport, Rhode Island in November. So I'm considering doing that. I find it so relaxing to do these. This Zentangle I did with my Navalar Nautilus. This is done with my Mont Blanc Jane Austen ink and my pen. This is what I actually did at my Zentangle class. You could see this is a little bit more official because they have you use a pencil and do some shading afterwards as well. This is like the original Zentangle square and some of the techniques. It's so relaxing. This is one I did with white gel pen. And this one I had fun with because I really like botanicals. So I kind of want to focus more on drawing florals within my Zentangles, or kind of leaning in towards that. I don't have the ink that I used here, but that's another one. So these are just some samples of Zentangles that I have been really enjoying. So I thought on Tuesdays, I could call it Tangle Tuesday, and I could do a Zentangle on Tuesdays. Okay, for Wednesday, I have What's in My Bag. I've done a couple What's in My Bag videos. I like to show what I bring in my bag if I'm going away for a weekend, or if I'm traveling out of the country, or going to a pen show, or just going to a cafe. You know, you pack your bag differently for different seasons and reasons. And that could also be like what's in my pen case, what's in my pen pouch, what's in my overnight bag. I just think that is a fun thought. Okay, the sun finally went behind the cloud. Thursday, I have Thoughtful Thursday. So I could write out a quote on Thursdays using, of course, my fountain pens and my stationery. And then Friday, I have Flip Through Friday, where I can feature one of my many planners that I like to use. I can do a couple flip throughs from my ink journal, could flip through my 30 inks, 30 days. Saturday, I have Pen Spotlight. So just basically pick a pen that I want to showcase and say a little bit about it, maybe with the ink that's in it. And then on Sunday, I have Creator's Choice. So I can just share what inspires me on Sundays. I thought that if I stuck to some sort of a schedule, I would be better about posting. It would just be fun because I love to see what other people are creating. And also a schedule so that when I don't know what to post, I can say, oh, today is Tuesday. It's Tangle Tuesday. Let me know if you have a system or a schedule that you follow for your Instagram post, if you're someone who even posts on Instagram. And let me know if you'd like to join me on any of these. I also like to share these things with my audience so that I am held accountable, because I can flake really easily. Okay, I have another 20 minutes before we have to leave for Beetlejuice. So let me share with you what I got from Atlas. I'm very excited. I have not opened this, so we are sharing this together. My little Atlas postcard. I'm embarrassed to admit how many of these I have. It says, Yippee, Hobonichi. So as you guys know, I wasn't like over the moon excited about Hobonichi season this year, but I'm really happy with where I landed. Let's start with the inks that I got first. I have one ink that is an oldie but goodie that I actually ran out of, which is rare because I got one of their smaller bottles, but this is Cacao de Brazil. This is like a grayish brown from Urban that I bought at Apple Boom a very long time ago. I got one of the little teeny tiny bottles and I'm just about out of it. And this ink is not very expensive. I want to say this is like maybe $13. So this is just a favorite of mine and it's one I go to all the time. Right here is Jane Austen and that really leans brown. And then right below it is Urban. The Jane Austen ink is $40 for the bottle. The Urban ink is like $13, I think, around that price point at Atlas. If I do look closely, I would say that the Jane Austen leans a little more purple, which it's hard to see that. If you look over here at the writing sample, they look very similar. Sometimes you can't really tell the difference in the writing sample. It's not until you look at a larger swatch. But that's exactly the kind of thing I was talking about. Like if I'm debating on whether or not I want to get a Mont Blanc ink that is so expensive, I can say, oh, well, let me try this Urban ink for a third of the price. This Sailor ink, I can't pronounce it, but that is similar as well. I think last week I spoke about the Pride and Prejudice ink that I bought and put in my cream TWSBI. And I think that this is kind of an odd pairing, but it really works. I think it's really pretty because I've only put browns and coffees and creams and beiges in this pen. And I decided to put this really bold, punchy pink from Pride and Prejudice in here. And I really love it. Maybe I shared this on Juicy Broads because we were talking about how we purchase inks, or maybe you don't, but I was saying how I purchase inks or pens sometimes based on the name, because as you know, I'm in my Jane Austen era right now. Actually, I'm really enjoying Jane Eyre, which is Charlotte Bronte. I think I like Jane Eyre. I like her writing even better than Jane Austen. I like Bronte's writing. I'm absolutely enthralled with Jane Eyre, but I'm also listening to that and then following along in a book that I bought, but I'm loving that story right now. But I specifically bought this ink because it was called Pride and Prejudice. I would not have bought it had it not had the title. And we were talking on the Juicy Broads live pen show that I do with Vanessa, my partner, about how there are certain things that we will buy or won't buy based on a name. And I was trying to recollect what it was that I had an interest in getting. And then the name just really turned me off. And so I didn't get it. And a couple people commented how they also buy things based on the name. And then I was shopping on Atlas and I realized what it was. It was from Sailor, the Don't Miss the Boat sale. It was a 1911 pen. I have to get this name for you. You might even know what I'm talking about. Hold on. I wanted to mention it just because I thought it was so funny. I wonder if anybody can guess this pen. It's very much my aesthetic. The Sailor 1911 fountain pen, Fried Egg Jellyfish. That's the name of the pen. And I just can't bring myself to get it because to me, that's such a terrible name. Fried Egg Jellyfish. I mean, and it's this beautiful brown, transparent pen. And I specifically can't buy it because of the name. If that same pen had been called Espresso Martini, I probably would have bought it. That is how messed up I am. But anyways, I just wonder if anybody else thinks the way that I do about certain things. Yeah, the name was a deal breaker for me. I've been looking for demonstrator pens, and also somebody recently asked me what a demonstrator pen was in a video. It's basically a clear pen. So the TWSBI that I just showed you, that's a demonstrator pen. This Asvine pen, that's a demonstrator. It's when you see the ink sloshing around inside. And sometimes pens are like semi-transparent. Like this also has a clear cap. TWSBIs just have a clear body. You could consider this a demonstrator pen because you can see the ink somewhat inside. So there are varying degrees of how much of the pen that you can see. So being inspired by names, when I did my order for the Hobonichi, I threw in this Jane Eyre ink, of course, and I may or may not have ordered from Goulet Pens, who's the only company that has it. The Jane Austen, it's like an evergreen color. It's a diatramentus ink. Literally the only website I saw it on. But this is Jane Eyre. And this looks like a lovely purple. The paintbrush here. Let's grab a loose piece of paper. Let's see, Jane Eyre. Ooh, I don't have much purple ink, but I liked that it was kind of like a dusty purple. There we go. How's that for an ink swatch? It's actually quite lovely. You can see how it's like pulling a little bit there. So this I actually would have bought even if it wasn't called Jane Eyre, but the fact that it was called Jane Eyre definitely helped. That could be pretty in this Esterbrook. Whoa, let's let that dry before I get ink everywhere like a child. Okay, the rest of the stuff that I got is Hobonichi stuff. Most unboxings are done from above, but mixing things up here. This is the Weeks that I got, and I got it in the leather pomegranate. This year I had the leather olive, which I thought was so beautiful. I feel like the leather got more expensive this year. Correct me if I'm wrong, I don't know. I think I bought mine when I was in Japan, so everything Hobonichi was less expensive, but I noticed that this was selling out on a couple sites, so I did end up getting this on Atlas. Whoops. It came with a little insert that I just dropped. So here it is. This is such a beautiful color, and it's upside down. Isn't that gorgeous? So classy. I thought it was so classy. I didn't get any covers because I just think this is beautiful. There's no need for a cover on this. Oh, I love it. The pomegranate's really pretty. And then honestly, like it even matches the color on the pages here on the weekend. That's kind of fun. I'm pretty excited about this. I mean, it's just a Weeks, you know, very basic, but I am planning to use this for my wellness journal. I started taking medicine for weight loss. I'm on Zepbound and I have been since May. I've lost 23 pounds and I've been keeping a journal about my journey in a traveler's notebook. But there are other things that I want to record. Sometimes I get side effects, like the medicine can make me tired or a little bit achy, kind of gives me flu-like symptoms if like my dosage goes up. So I just like writing down what's going on. And I want to be better about it in the new year. I want to record more, record my steps, record my sleep. So that's all going to go in here. The sun is coming back, so I'm leaning over here. So you guys know I'm not like a super cutesy person, which is why sometimes the Hobonichi stuff doesn't appeal to me as much. But I thought that this little pencil board was really cute. I thought it would go nicely with my Weeks. And this is about how much I would invest in cutesy. Got my Weeks, got my pencil board, and then I just got this little notebook. At kind of my mid-year planner video, I had 2 stacks of planners, what's working, what's failing. And what was failing for me, and I've mentioned this several times, is too many dated planners. I'm more of a journaler than a planner. I'm writing and doodling all day long, every day, but I don't need dates on everything. I've been liking the actual graph paper more than dot grids lately, so I got this. I could use this for some of my Instagram ideas that I mentioned. If it's Thoughtful Thursday, I could put all my quotes in here. Maybe this will be my little Instagram notebook. This would be nice for that. Okay, and last but not least, I'm excited about this. I've never owned one of these, and I opted to get the A6 size for portability and for less stress, less pressure to write more. But I got the 5-year diary. I love the little box here. Do I keep holding things upside down? And for all the reasons that I just mentioned why I got a bunch of undated things, it's just the opposite when it comes to the 5-year diary. It's a pet peeve of mine to have to write in the year in every single entry for a 5-year diary. 365 days a year times 5. That's too many times having to write in the date. And I just don't like the aesthetic of it. I love that you actually have to commit to a 5-year diary. I've had an open-ended one before where you write the date in. I got it at a thrift store and it was brand new and I regret ever writing in it. I should have sold it. I thrift for a living and it was a really beautiful like linen book, but it didn't take fountain pen ink very well. I can't remember what the brand was and you had to write the date in. So I failed at it. And then once I started writing in it, I couldn't sell it. So anyway, this is the Hobonichi 5-year Techo. I'm so excited for this. It looks like they give you a sample of the paper which is kind of nice. But here's the book. Oh, it's so fun and chunky and cute, and it lies flat. Oh, I'm gonna have a really good time with this. In this, I just plan on writing, I thought current events would be really fun. Like today is the presidential debate. That would be something that I would write in here, or maybe that I'm going to see Beetlejuice. Something from the day that would signify, you know, where we are in the world. So if there's something big in current events or in my own life that's happening, I would write it in here. Otherwise, I will just maybe write my favorite memory of the day. I do think that I'm happy that I got this size because it is portable. This is going to be my friend for the next 5+ years because I'm not starting until January. Anyway, let me know if you have the 5-year journal, what size you got. If you care, if you have to write in the date, or if you prefer the Hobonichi where they actually write the date in for you. I just saw a flip through of somebody who just was flipping through her first year, and she was an artist, and she did sketches with colored pencils and then a little bit of like an outline. I think she used some watercolors, some fountain pens, and it was just awesome. It was so awesome. I could never do that. My 30 inks, 30 days is where I max out with that sort of thing. But that is it. That is my entire haul from Atlas. I got my 2 inks, my Jane Eyre, my Cookout de Brazil ink, both lovely. I got the Weeks in the pomegranate leather with this fun little pencil board. I got a little notebook that maybe I'll use for Instagram. And I got my 5-year diary, and I'm very excited about it. So I have now all of my planners in place except for my Sterling Ink B6, which is released on September 15th. I need to order that, and that's like my main one. I still think that I'll do my planner lineup more thoroughly at the end of October, probably, when everything's in and I have a really good understanding of what I'm doing. But that is it for this week's weekly check-in. Thank you so much for being here. If you enjoy my weekly check-ins, be sure to hit the subscribe button, hit the thumbs up if you had a good time today. Let me know if there are any topics you'd like me to discuss. I think my next video that I'm going to put out is probably going to be a currently inked, because now we're like midway through September. I am like itching to dive into all of the fall things and put something together. I'll definitely talk about the Commonwealth Pen Show next week. Be sure to say hello if you happen to see me at the Commonwealth Pen Show this Saturday. My husband's going to come with me. We're just going to kind of walk through. I'm just looking forward to checking out the venue and seeing some local friends there. Here is the Jane Eyre ink. It is pretty much dried now, except for this little section. Isn't that beautiful? I really love it. Thank you everybody for watching. Enjoy your pens and your journals and all of your creative outlets this week. I'll let you know how Beetlejuice is. I'm really looking forward to seeing the new one. Take care everybody. Bye-bye.